Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Beers with Chad. We are on the fortnight? No, that's not right, but the eve of the Super Bowl. So I want to bring you my keys to the game and predictions, as well as a quick update on Waste Management Open, which is almost done with the second round. So we're talking about that. Today I'm drinking Paperback Capiche. Capiche. You hear me? It's a Pilsner you won't refuse. So if you've been watching Waste Management, people going crazy. That lineup, when they're, start your engines out there at 6 a.m. to sprint to their spots. I got a couple buddies out there having a blast at that. Man, that was a bad pour by me. But yeah, so we're talking Waste Management, and then again my Super Bowl predictions and MVP picks, key to the game, all that kind of stuff. Once I let my bubbles get dealt with here. Shockingly, this kind of Godfather-esque themed beer, I have never seen The Godfather or The Godfather 2. There's a lot of times when I think about, hey, I need to watch those. And I'm sure I've seen many parts of them, when they're showing on like TNT or TBS on a Saturday afternoon, probably endlessly throughout my life. But yeah, never seen the full versions. Let me get some of this foam out of here. Oh, that's nice. And so maybe with seeing this beer or drinking this beer, then I'll get on my Godfather watching. If I'm thinking favorite mob movie for me, I love The Departed. I know The Departed has very mixed feelings towards it, but I love The Departed. So yeah, we got Paperback Capiche Italian style Pilsner with a terrible pour by me, and I guess I'm using the wrong glass here. I grabbed my IPA glass, but here's Beers with Chad. Subscribe, listen, rate, review, all that good stuff. Cheers.
As long as I remember people around, always find a way of looking down. They remember my family name, always talking about where I came from. Wouldn't give me the time of day, never listen to a word I say. Now they want to act like their best friend. What a coincidence.
So we've got the biggest party in the desert going on. Waste Management. People going crazy, but the weather has been really rough. A lot of suspended play out there. Not quite the Arizona that people are expecting, the Scottsdale weather that people are expecting. But I got a couple buddies out there. They said that they're having a blast. We've got leaders at 12 under. But my picks, if you listen to the last episode, I said JT, JT, everyone was really down on him, but he started playing better towards the end of last year, had a good Ryder Cup, and has been playing well this year. JT's currently 8 under and tied for 5th, so in pretty solid position. And then our local guy, Jake Knapp, who at least on the ESPN coverage has been getting quite a bit of love. They love talking about how he was a bouncer at a club, which is a spot called Country Club, not an actual country club, but a bar called Country Club here in Costa Mesa. So probably a bit of a rare job for a now professional golfer, and his ups and downs of mini tours and being able to get on the Korn Ferry and then finish 15th on the Korn Ferry, and now a great start to his rookie year so far in the PGA. Jake is currently 5 under, which makes him T18, but he's still got 4 holes left. So as I'm talking right now, this is Friday night. The sun is down. So on the first day, Jake only got to play 2 holes on Thursday because he had one of the last tee times and there was, like a 4-hour rain delay. So he only played 2 holes the first day. Then he went out and played 30 holes today. and now has 4 holes for his second round to finish up in the morning, but he's well within the cut line there at T18. So, he's going to be making his third of 4 cuts, third cut in 4 tournaments this year. Only missed it at Amex out in the desert, despite his albatross in the second round. So great start for Jake. Really excited for him. Had a bunch of people texting me, pictures of him, pictures of his name on the leaderboard, all that stuff today. So congrats to Jake on this great start, and hopefully, he keeps bringing it home this weekend, because I bet him to finish top 10. So that's, kind of waste management. We'll see how it goes. Scheffler, of course, always in the mix. Tagala, a lot of good players, but I think JT can bring it home. Today's episode of Beers with Chad is brought to you by the Juggernaut AI app. If you want the smartest program for you, fully customized, adapts to your feedback, grows as you grow as a lifter, visit juggernautai.app and use code BEERS to save on your monthly subscription. So Super Bowl, we're 2 days away, 36 hours away almost from the Super Bowl. Stuff that's been going on this week, whether it's the 49ers fans just being all over the Chiefs during media day, kind of drowning them out and stuff. But I think that these are teams that have a lot of, the players have a lot of mutual respect for each other. They had that battle in the Super Bowl, in 2020. But, Kelsey and Kittle, they do the tight end U together. Of course, everyone has a lot of respect for Mahomes, and I think these guys see Brock Purdy as, a player who works really hard, who's kind of undeserving of some of the criticism that he takes. So it hasn't been really any trash talking going on there, just a lot of respect. But 49ers, I know, have been very frustrated with their practice fields. They're practicing at UNLV. The Chiefs are at the indoor facility of the Raiders, which I'm sure as a Raiders fan has to sting as one of your main rivals practicing on your field as they get ready for the Super Bowl. And then the 49ers had to also have this early morning false alarm, fire alarm pulled at their hotel, trying to mess with their sleep. But I think that's stuff that they're kind of just using, like, everyone's against us, it sounds like they don't think that was, purely an accident, that fire alarm going off and messing with their sleep. But all that stuff aside, this is what I see as being the keys to the game this Super Bowl, which currently has 49ers favored by like 2 points. It opened at 2.5, got down to 1.5, back up to 2.5, 2, probably finishes, I bet at 49ers minus 1.5 tomorrow or on Sunday, but we'll see. So first key is that the 49ers have to run their offense. They have to play 49ers football. And what I mean by that is they need to play under center. They need to establish the run. They need to, play from play action there, because that's what they do great. That is the Kyle Shanahan genius. If they do that, which they abandoned, in the Packers game, and that's so much of why the first 3 quarters of the Packers game, they looked so bad, because it was a lot of straight drop back. And I think that could be attributed to Debo going out early, and he's such a, an irreplaceable figure. You can't just put Jawan Jennings in and be like, yeah, Jawan, run these sweeps, run these jets, run these motion this way, come back, toss the other way type of thing, and reverses and all that stuff. So adjusting in game was Kyle didn't do a good job of that. And they were in straight drop back, and it was bad rhythm, and the weather compounding those problems. But if the 49ers come out and run their offense, CMC, doing CMC things, outside zone stretch stuff, sort of the real basis, and then all the Debo action around that sets up the great timing of the play action game. Also makes their pass game so much better, because if you talk to a 49ers offensive lineman, and Joe Staley and I have gotten to know each other the last 4 or 5 years, and he talked about how, like, Kyle's scheme is so effective. He's like you almost don't have to block, when he's really on it for his play action stuff. And the 49ers offensive line is probably the weakest unit of their entire team. yes, Trent Williams is one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, and the best tackle in the NFL for the last 4 or 5 years, but particularly the right side of their offensive line. John Feliciano or Spencer Buford at right guard and Colton McKivitz at right tackle are a bit of a liability, and we'll talk more about that. But if they can establish the run and then their play action game and all the boot action and stuff off of that, it's going to cover up a lot of the weakness of the right side of the offensive line in the pass game. So that's the first thing. If they can do that, particularly early, that gets the offense into a rhythm, and that is when the multiple nature of the 49ers offense, can take over the game, really. Because when you break the huddle with Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk, you have 5 players who can really effectively attack a defense and attack a defense from anywhere on the field. Because when you come out of the huddle with those 5 guys, you could be, in using Juszczyk as a true fullback, like an I-backs or an offset I, with George Kittle, one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL, with Deebo at a wing and maybe Ayuk split wide, or a tight bunch, everything compact. Brandon Ayuk is a great blocking wide receiver, and be running real straight power football right at the Chiefs, and the run defense is not the Chiefs' forte. And like a guy like Chris Jones, great pass rusher, but the best way to negate Chris Jones is to run right at him. And then you can, break the huddle with those same 5 offensive skill players and be in an empty set, because Juice can catch the ball. He can line up as a slot wide receiver or even wide and catch the ball. McCaffrey, of course, anywhere. Ayuk, Deebo with all of his special Deebo abilities, and George Kittle, leading all tight ends in the NFL in receiving this year. So for that ability, for a defense to have to deal with everything from, power I, essentially, out to an empty backfield spread from the same personnel, makes it so hard for them to adjust. So if they can come out, use their multiple sets, establish the run, get Brock in play, in rhythm, in the play action game, that's the biggest key to the game, and certainly the key for the 49ers. After that, it's a question of who can stop the run. Like I said, the Chiefs defense bottom 5 against the run this year, but last game, they played the Ravens, the number 1 rushing offense. And while the Ravens didn't try and run the ball, as I bemoaned their 11 designed run plays, the Chiefs, I guess, stopped the run well enough, even though the Ravens were running the ball well, they just didn't do it. They just didn't continue on that course for whatever reason that Todd Monken didn't want to do that, their offensive coordinator. But can they stop the run and force the 49ers out of their game plan, out of 49ers football? And then how does the 49ers defense, which is getting gashed by the Lions in the first half last week, by Aaron Jones and the Packers the week before that, and how do they bounce back? I mean, the lack of effort, rather, on some of those long runs by Jahmyr Gibbs, by Jameson Williams in the Lions game, that's embarrassing for the 49ers defense. And I know that those coaches have taken those guys to task over the last 2 weeks as they prepare for this game. And the leaders of that defense, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, these are some of the best players in the NFL. These are guys with a ton of pride. To see Chase Young loaf the way he did on some of those plays, I mean, it's unimaginable to me that they're not going to come out and play with great effort in the Super Bowl. So, even if it wasn't the Super Bowl, I think the poor performance the last week and the poor effort the last week, the 49ers are a high character football team, guys with a lot of pride. They're going to bounce back. They're going to bounce back even that much more because it is the Super Bowl. So I think that the 49ers defense has a much, much stronger showing than they've had the last couple of weeks. But with all that said, they haven't been great against the run all year. It's not like the defense headed by DeMeco Ryans, the previous 2 years of this, Robert Saleh before that. They haven't been as good, especially against the outside run. So the pin and pull type of stuff. Can Nick Bosa set the edge? Can Chase Young set the edge? What's the push like inside? Joe Thuney looks very unlikely to play, the great guard for the Chiefs. So how does Javon Hargrave play against the run? Javon Kinlaw and Eric Armstead occupy blockers to let Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw run and make plays. Shavarius Ward, Mooney Ward, one of the best run support corners. So who's going to stop the run? Does Pacheco get hectic and, super hard runner and do what he does? Or are the 49ers able to corral that? And, it's not like they want to put it in Patrick Mahomes' hands or put it on Mahomes to win the game. But stopping the run is going to be key because, you have to make them a little bit more one-dimensional and, make sure that the 49ers defensive line stops the run so they earn the right, to have some fun and rush the passer. So who stops the run better? Then who gets pressure on the quarterback better? We're talking offensive line, defensive line. For all the other flashy stuff, this is where football games are won. So who gets pressure on the quarterback? As I mentioned, that right side of the 49ers offensive line, particularly Colton McKivitz and John Feliciano, they are a cut below. 49ers are like 25th in pass block win rate this year. I think people perceive them to have a great offensive line because Trent Williams is so outstanding, but they have not been good, pass blockers in straight drop situations, and we saw that against the Packers and a lot of pressure getting put on Brock Purdy leading the interceptions and the Ravens as well. So for the 49ers to pass block effectively, they need to play 49ers football, establish the run, misdirection, so on and so forth. But if they can't do that, and maybe even if they can, Chris Jones has the potential to be a real game wrecker. And as he lines up on that right side, against the right side of the 49ers offensive line, his bull rush ability can be very, very problematic. So if he's collapsing the pocket, George Karlaftis, a very good pass rusher coming from that side as well. How do the 49ers deal with that? Negate it by running right at him, do that effectively, and hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. But how they're able to handle that, if the Chiefs win this game, I could see a situation where it's worth putting a couple dollars on Chris Jones as a long shot MVP, because if the 49ers get in straight drop back, Chris Jones could have 2 or 3 sacks this game. I mean, he's maybe, half of a notch below Aaron Donald, but so physical in his bull rush. And that's, I think, particularly what Colton McKivitz is susceptible to. The 49ers offense is built on so much, speed and movement in the zone schemes of the run game that those offensive linemen, Trent Williams, an exception to, can be a little lighter in the ass and not hold up as well against the bull rush. On the other side of things, the vaunted, heralded, highly paid, highly compensated 49ers defensive line, they got to get home. They have not played well, the last couple of weeks. As on the whole, as a year, they haven't gotten a lot of sacks. Pressure numbers have been pretty good. Since Eric Armstead's been back, pressure numbers have been better. But Javon Hargrave got paid a bunch of money this offseason. He needs to show up big here. Eric Armstead, high character leader, he's going to show up big here. Those guys, Nick Bosa, Armstead, Warner, Greenlaw, George Kittle, Debo, those are all guys who were in that 2020 Super Bowl against the Chiefs. They're experienced. They're going to have to be taking this game so personally. So Armstead and Hargrave, they have to win inside against that very, very good interior offensive line of the Chiefs. But if Joe Thuney's out, they got to take advantage of that. Nick Bosa has to play like Nick Bosa, reigning up until yesterday, Defensive Player of the Year, and impact the game. And Chase Young embarrassed himself last week, loafing on plays. I mean, Chase Young is playing for his pride right now. He's playing for a Super Bowl ring. He's playing for whatever team, which I don't think is going to be the 49ers, want to give him some money this offseason. And if he has another showing like he did in the NFC Championship game, I wouldn't be, if I was a GM, I wouldn't be the one to be giving him a lot of money. So he needs to come and show out. So who gets pressure on the quarterback, always going to be a big deciding factor. How do the Chiefs' other wide receivers play? We know Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes have such a chemistry between them. Their ability to play, backyard football, and for Kelce to know, all right, this is the play concept. This is about where Pat needs me to be. Pat trusts that he's going to get there, but the way he gets there is so, loose, jazz-like. Let's say that the improvisational, it makes it so hard for him to cover. To cover him. So, was Ross Dwelly or Charlie Warner, running scout team stuff, trying to emulate Travis Kelce? Like, in that situation, they're going to draw the route on the card, but he's not going to get there the same way Travis Kelce does. So Travis Kelce is going to do his stuff, and of course they're going to be highly focused on stopping him. And Fred Warner, is a great option to cover him, one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL, maybe the NFL has ever seen. Isaiah Oliver could come in to play here as a bigger slot player, who's going to be quicker than Kelce. A more physical corner who could be useful, and then the safeties as well, veteran savvy Logan Ryan and Tayshaun Gibson. But as much focus as they'll likely give Kelce, I think it's the 49ers hope that they put it on all the other guys to have to step up and beat him, because those other wide receivers have had so many moments struggling throughout the year. So if that's Rashee Rice, MVS, what's Kadarius Toney's role here? So if those other guys are catching the ball, if Marquez Valdes-Scantling beats you in this game, if he's the reason that they win, I guess so be it. But their other second-year wide receiver, I can't remember his name. I know he's back active. They got Jerick McKinnon active for the game, 49ers legend Jerick McKinnon. So how do those non-Kelce wide receivers impact the game? So I think those are the keys. 49ers have to run their offense, establish the run and the play action that makes their offense so great off of that. Who stops the run effectively? Who pressures the quarterback? And then how do the other Chiefs wide receivers play, assuming that the 49ers aren't letting Kelce just eat them up? So my prediction, with my head in my heart, 49ers 27, Chiefs 24. It should be a great game. These are great, kind of contrasting style football teams that I'm excited to watch. I'm going Christian McCaffrey for MVP. If the 49ers are to win this game, it is going to be because of Christian McCaffrey, or at least the commitment to the run, which starts with Christian McCaffrey. But I also, from a betting perspective, I think Deebo Samuel can be a great bet there, because he's going to be integral to the run game. The pass game, if Deebo has a game that's 5 carries for, 35 or 40 yards and 4 catches for, 60 to 80 yards, because you never know when he's just going to break some tackles and go. Do the 49ers bring out some special stuff? Last year against the Rams, Christian McCaffrey became one of the few players ever to run, catch, and throw for a touchdown. Deebo could probably get in that tricky action as well. So 49ers 27, Chiefs 24. Christian McCaffrey, I think the most likely MVP, but Deebo wouldn't count him out either. Brock's got to protect the ball. So excited for the game. Rooting hard for my guys. That's Beers with Chad. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who you think is going to win? Again, paperback, Capiche, Italian Pilsner. Very nice. Cheers.